You're listening to the
Hey.
JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound
I'm
off
in.
and react for over 20 years.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try and pull it up.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Philly Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 20 years.
Over to the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Yes, we're out of the gate today. We are doing a cross your fingers show. Danny is in here for Bobby. We don't have Wi-Fi in the building today, which means it's nobody's fault. So if our Wi-Fi goes out, it's nobody's fault. I'm not a Wi-Fi technician, but we are having, when you're a big radio station with big satellites and radio buttons everywhere and transmitters, every once in a while they tell you the Wi-Fi's out. And I go, okay, well, it just worked for me on our live stream. So if we go kaput at some point, you'll know why. If we're able to do certain things today, I've been known, Danny, to do a lot of radio shows flying blind over my tenure here, almost 30 years. I don't feel like we are blind out of the gate. So we got good sound. It's a combine today. If you'd like to watch us, this will be a fun show to watch today on YouTube, on the stream at JT the Brick YT. Hello to everybody and everybody listening on the Raiders mobile app. We're leaning on our teammates today pretty hard over at the combine because they're there. We're back here in Vegas. Pete Carroll just spoke, so we're going to try to play you that at some portion of the show. John Spytek spoke, which was really good. I watched that as I was outside in my backyard, a little backyard brick. My Wi-Fi at home was working great on the mean streets of Summerlin. I was even able to pair it on my TV in the backyard while I was having coffee, and I watched Spytek, and it's good enough to play here, a completely different time slot. So we'll try to get that going here in a little bit. Jeff Sherman will join us from over at the Westgate. This Luka Doncic Dallas game tonight is a great game to bet if you know how to bet. A lot of people don't know how to bet. They just give away their money. But he wanted to come on to talk about the prop bets in that game, Super Bowl odds, everything going on at the Combine. So we'll do that with Jeff Sherman in his typical Tuesday spot. And then we have a couple of people over in Indy that are texting me saying we're trying to find you a guest in the 1 o'clock hour. So we'll see what happens there. But today was a big day. And before I play the sound, and we'll get to that, the must-listen monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue 5 to 7, midnight to 2. It's the best happy hour in town because they have half-price drinks twice a day and over 70 taverns. So you'll have a great time at a Sierra Gold, Sean Patrick's, PTs, all the bars there. They are really Raider-friendly, Golden Knights-friendly. By the way, did you see the Golden Knights get blown out? Blown out in the third period? Wow, they're up 2-1, and then they just got blitzed off the ice in LA. I mean, that was ugly. You won't see that happen to this team much. And it was able to happen last night, and we'll get into that. And then I'm going to dive into, again, yesterday we did a big Matthew Stafford day. So we did a big Matthew Stafford day yesterday, and no one took the bait. They just left me out there without a life preserver on. You left me out in the deep ocean, and I almost drowned. If I didn't know how to swim and I wasn't a high school swimmer, I wouldn't have been able to get back to the shore. I rolled out Matthew Stafford yesterday, and it went over like a lead brick dropped in the ocean. Because, again, I think that has to do with Raider fans kind of checked out in the offseason, and they check in for this show, and everyone's like, Matthew Stafford, I never thought of that. So now we're going to move on to the big topic of today, where Mel Kiper Jr. has the Raiders passing on Shedeur at 6. I can't make this up. Mel Kiper Jr., who has gotten a lot more wrong than he's gotten right. But again, that's like sports gamblers. A lot of great sports gamblers are under 50%. Mel Kiper, it's hard to predict who's going to go. See, the problem with these NFL mock draft guys is simple. They have a power board of the best players. So they know the best edge rusher, the best wide receiver, the best running back. And then what they try to do is they try to tell you that the best running back is better than the second quarterback. And that's where their board gets all whacked out. And that's why they have a 1.0, a 2.0, a 3.0, and then they have their final mock draft because they're there in the combine just asking people and scouts and GMs, what do you think here? So when I found out today that Mel Kiper Jr., I guess, in his mock draft, put it out that Shedeur goes to the Jets at 7, and we pass on him. I said, oh, no. Wait a second. I got Raider fans blanking and moaning at me every day, pulling me aside at the Commitment to Excellence Award. What are we doing? Who are we taking? Well, I can tell you one thing. If Shador's there at 6, we better take him. I would think you take him there. If he drops to number 6, he could go number 1 or 2. And Mel Kiper has Ashton Genty, the running back who played in the Mountain West, not the SEC, not the Big 12, not the Big 10, in the Mountain West. Don't you get a chance to play Fresno State and San Jose State in that conference? He has the Raiders taking Ashton Genty over Shador. Okay, I don't see that happening. If that happens, I would be shocked because that means the Raiders would pass on Shador Sanders. And if they did pass on him at number 6 and Shador went on to be great, like great, then the internet would just break in Raider Nation. We would have nothing to stand behind. So I got more confidence in Tom Brady and John Spytek. And if they do pass on both the quarterbacks by 6, that means that, man, they had some deep conversations on that topic. So that's Mel Kiper's board. That's not the Raiders board. I'm not telling you that that's the right thing or wrong thing to do. I'm just telling you that that was a kind of a big storyline for me today as I was listening to Spytek and Pete Carroll and all of that, and to see what's going to happen in front of the Raiders who picked number 6 in this draft. And if you pick number 6 in the draft, you have an opportunity to get a quarterback high, or you can trade up. And there are some other people out there saying that the Raiders could be interested in trading up from 6 to 1, to go up there and, go get the quarterback. Maybe that's Cam Ward. So that's one of the topics today. Do you see the possibility of the Raiders passing on Shador Sanders? I don't. 702-365-9200 is the number. It's going to get really emotional around here. It's not going to be for the faint of heart if you're a Raider fan, because I think there's going to be what we call Raider on Raider crime. And what that's going to be, you got a lot of Raider friends. They're sitting in my chat right now. And you got a lot of Raider friends who go to the same bar together, or they're buddies. They tailgate together. And they don't agree with each other. And they're all over the place. And these are the same Raider fans that I talk to who've been screaming. We got Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, no, we got Gardner Minshew. Oh, they've been yelling at me. They take it out on me. And I'm like, look, I don't pick these quarterbacks. I just want them to do well. When we get them, I get behind them. I'm the first to interview them. We put them on the radio. We welcome them to the Raider Nation. Hey, man, whatever you need, come to us. We got you covered. And they don't work. So this one's got to work. And Spytek and Carroll were really good today. And again, I'm always careful with my tone, because if Antonio Pierce was there today, he would have been good too. He would have been good. He would have been more of an upbeat guy. We're going to be back. We're going to be better. We're getting all our guys back healthy. It's nothing against Antonio Pierce. Pete Carroll is completely different. His calm demeanor, his competing. Someone asked him, I'll hear it later in the show, what's it going to be like? Who's got the final veto power? Don't worry about that. It's not going to happen. We're all going to work together. Everything that Pete says is about working together nicely with the people that he works with. I love that about Pete Carroll, and I don't know him well. Met him a few times, but he's the type of guy that he wants everybody to do well. It's not going to be gossip. It's not going to be drama. It's not going to be, hey, I have the final authority to make this call. He dove into Tom Brady, who he says he's, involved at a certain degree, and they text each other and they're able to talk, and he's able to call him whenever he wants. So everybody's trying to go down in mine and go deep under earth and figure out what's going on with Tom Brady. No one knows. No one knows. He's a dad. He's got kids. It's the offseason. He just broadcast the Super Bowl. He's a mighty owner of the Raiders. He's got other business, TB12, right? He travels. He probably deserves a big vacation. But now the Raiders are trying to figure out who the quarterback's going to be, and I'm counting on Tom Brady to get it right. And it's not going to be that easy. So that's what we're trying to figure out today. And I think with the sound, and you're going to hear the John Spytek coming up here in a little bit. We'll take some of it, maybe 10 minutes or something of that. And then if our Wi-Fi is up and Danny is waiting for the green light, because it seems I'm streaming, so my Wi-Fi is working here. Maybe we got something going. I want to play you the Pete Carroll a little bit later on in the show, and we'll try to navigate through some of the guests that we have coming up here. But everybody at the Combine is there for a particular reason. The playoff teams want to get better, The free agents want to be talked about. The rookies are there for that reason. They're going to perform. The rookies want to be heard from. But it's mostly about the staffs getting together in a really, not intense, but highly, highly focused environment in Indianapolis, in the meeting rooms, at the combine, in the suites, which they have, and getting a lot of work done. And I think for John Spytek, he would probably like to hit it out of the park because he's a first-time GM. He's been an assistant GM. This is his first opportunity to jump out there and do something special. And in the past, he's worked with some veteran quarterbacks, right? He worked with Baker Mayfield, who was a veteran. Tom Brady came into the Super Bowl winning team, an elite veteran. They've worked with a lot of veterans. In Denver, they had Peyton Manning come in. He could barely walk at the end, and they won a Super Bowl. Spytek was a part of that. So with all that happening, you would lean towards John Spytek as a guy who would be very comfortable with a veteran quarterback. But he's got an opportunity. One of the main reasons he got this job is the Raiders have a high draft pick, and I'd like to see John Spytek figure out the rookie quarterbacks and go get one there. So that's what we're hitting on today is John Spytek, Pete Carroll, a couple of guests who are out there, some of the bigger storylines from the NFL Combine. I was on the air last night on Sirius XM, and I made a passionate speech about the fact that I am not into player entitlement more than any time in my life. I don't care what sport it is. You don't get it in hockey. Danny, in hockey, you don't get player entitlement. You don't get a hockey player saying, we played last night in San Jose. Tonight we're in Seattle. I don't want to play. No, we don't do that. We don't sub you out. You're on the hockey team. You play every game. We don't just call someone up from the minor leagues because you want the night off. It don't work that way in hockey. And now at the NFL Combine, we're seeing player entitlement because now players don't want to work out. Really? That's why they set up the stadium. They're inside Lucas Oil with cones set up and cameras so you can work out and we can watch you. Now you don't even want to work out. Player entitlement. NBA, worst league of them all. Player entitlement. The players feel like they can get their massive Paul George $49 million a year contract and then choose when to play. Player entitlement. That's what we're seeing, and it's coming to the combine. So I expect that the league is going to come in and say maybe the next year or two at the owners meeting, no, if you're coming to the combine, here's the deal. Here's how I would change it if I was king. I would say if you're coming to the combine, you work out or you don't come. That's what I would do if I was king. If I was Goodell, I'd say, you want to come to the combine? Are you healthy? You don't have an injury note from the doctor? Good, you're healthy. If you don't work out, if you don't run, if you don't throw, if you don't run the cone drill, get the hell out of here. Go back to your school and we'll see you on pro day. Because I got guys who are on the ground texting me saying, I can't believe I'm here. This guy isn't working out. That guy's not working out. So I believe that's a form of player entitlement that is coming here. Also today, there's a big rumor that Rob Gronkowski is going to come out of retirement. I think someone put it out on their Twitter. Everybody retweeted it. I'm not going to give it the merit here just yet. If it comes through, I'll credit the person involved. But why would Rob Gronkowski come out of retirement when he has all those national television commercials? He's on the path to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and then he'd have to go back in line and wait another 5 years to play 1 year in Denver. They said the fit would be Denver. Okay, that's weird. Brock Bowers is in the AFC West. Travis Kelce is in the AFC West. Are we talking about him coming out of retirement there? That's a story. Danny, did you see the story on the other show that someone took a video of Pete Carroll standing up in the plane? So Pete Carroll flew coach. I don't care how Pete flies. I'm not private jet, whatever. Who cares? He went up to see his buddies in first class. He stood for over an hour talking to guys he worked with in Seattle. Someone grabbed the video, which is creepy as crap. Video someone on an airplane. The only person you should video on an airplane is that guy or crazy mom that's getting strapped to the chair with the electric tape because she's threatening to do something crazy, and you gotta subdue her. So the flight attendants come with electric tape and they tape the person to the chair. Or someone tries to run up to the cockpit. You want to tackle that person. I'm all for that. But taking video of Pete Carroll standing in an aisle made national news yesterday. That Pete Carroll, A, was sitting in coach, B, was standing in first class, and first class didn't seem to mind. And everyone's getting off the plane. Oh, my God, Pete Carroll was there in first class standing. That's news. That's news. That's NFL Combine news. That's what's called content providers. I'm a content provider too. You will never see content of me on an airplane while it's in the air, video people standing, famous people in the aisle. And that was a trending story there last night. And then there's one really serious story. The Ravens, this Justin Tucker controversy is massive now. The Ravens general manager, Eric DeCosta, said earlier today at the Combine that the number of sexual misconduct allegations made against Justin Tucker is, quote, serious and concerning, but indicated that the team will wait to determine his future in Baltimore. Quote, I think we're fortunate that the league is doing an investigation. DeCosta said that at the Combine. We'll wait and patiently see and get as much information as we can and make our decisions based on that. Now, the issue becomes here, inappropriate behavior. It doesn't matter if it's one woman or it's 20. But we're now up to 16 massage therapists from 8 high-end Baltimore area spas have made allegation of sexual misconduct against Tucker, according to the Baltimore Banner. All of the incidents reportedly occurred during sessions from 2012 to 16. Well, we're in 2025. What the hell was everybody doing from 2016 to 2024? No one spoke up until now? No one? What did the Ravens know or not? What do the police know? What does Tucker's family know? John Harbaugh said the accusations against Tucker are, quote, not what you want to wake up and read. So this is a storyline because this guy's a Hall of Famer. And I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he gets in. And this could derail all of that. And obviously the allegations are much more important in football. But that's a storyline that hit the ground there also. So we'll get into that. So that's where I stand today. Like to hear from everybody again. I think the phones work. They do. We'll see. 702-365-9200. Q's going to come on after me live from the Combine. Vinny is live at the Combine. He's going to join us tomorrow. And I think we have everything lined up for you as we're leaning on Eddie Pascal, Levi Edwards, all of our teammates from Silver and Black Productions who are on the ground. And they're going to pop on the show too. And we got a nice week lined up because for me, it's a little bit of, relax and hear what everybody over there is saying. Try to get some good interviews. Try to get you on the radio and try to get a feel for what the Raiders are doing. Now, another topic today, which is important. Now with Pete Carroll in charge, how much better do you feel about the process of this, the Combine, free agency, and the draft? How good do you feel about Pete Carroll being the face of the franchise as the head coach as we dive into this chapter of the offseason with the Raiders? I feel pretty good about it because I think him and John Spytek are on the same page that they want competition. They want players who want to play. And that's hard for me to understand because I think everyone who comes to this organization wants to play. Everybody I've ever met, other than Randy Moss, Jamarcus Russell, and like a handful of guys, didn't want to play. I haven't met anybody in the Raiders roster the last couple of years who was like a bad guy, who didn't want to play and didn't want to compete. They're pro football players. This is next level stuff. We got to understand this, and I'm trying to figure it out just like you are in real time. What Pete Carroll expects and what he is doing is next level stuff. What you and I think of competition is completely different to Brady and Carroll. They're on the Mount Rushmore of competition. The greatest competitor of all time, Tom Brady. Not the greatest quarterback, he has that. The greatest competitor of all time. And also on that list is Peyton Manning and Jim Brown, right? Jim Brown and Joe Montana, whoever it is. But Brady's on that list. And then Pete Carroll, he's just known for competition. So the competition starts in Indianapolis when Pete Carroll gets to look down from the suite with the binoculars or sit in a meeting when they're interviewing a player. What his level of competition is completely different, with all due respect, to anyone we've seen in the building in a long time with this organization. A lot of good men and women work in this organization and are great and they love to compete. Pete Carroll's at a different level than all of them. And we get him now going into the Combine. I find that very refreshing because he's going to see things that other coaches wouldn't have seen. And he's going to be able to find the type of player that can go quick. And then if we're able to play Pete Carroll's press conference coming up here, the other thing I loved about what he said is he keeps saying we're ready to go now. This is not a rebuild. This is not, hey, man, give me 2-3 years to get the draft right. I'm hearing none of that. I'm hearing he's ready to go. And he wants to turn this thing around quickly, which would be good for me with my access to the team and the jobs that I have, because I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 2 or 3 years for this to get good. I think Kansas City's coming back. I'm not saying that Kansas City's going to crash and burn, but I think Kansas City's going to come back to the pack. I'm not in fear of Denver. I am not in fear of Denver in that roster. Bo Nix had a better year than I expected. I admitted that. I am not afraid of Denver going to run and hide because they got a better team than the Raiders. And then the Chargers are always going to charger. Chargers are always going to be kind of weird and quirky and underachieve, but they got Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert and Daniel Jeremiah, who also works on that broadcast, said something interesting today. When he was on radio, he said the Chargers last year went to the toolbox and they got all the hardcore tools, the offensive lineman, Joe Alt. They went and got guys to be the hard. Now they can go candy shopping. Now the Chargers can go after Devontae Adams. Yes, the Chargers can go after Ashton Genty. The Chargers could get more help at the positions that have let them down over the last couple of years. So I am concerned more about the Chargers than Denver. I think the Raiders still have to chase down Kansas City. I like the Raiders' schedule whenever they give us the dates. I like the schedule. I love the coach, Pete Carroll. I think the GM is going to get off to a good start, but that's just me hoping it happens, because 4-13 is not acceptable. And I got that tone when I was listening today from Spytek and Carroll that, no, we got some good players here, but we're going to bring in better players. And I think a lot of Raider fans got to get used to saying this. Bye-bye. Say it with me. Goodbye. You're going to have to say goodbye to players on this roster today that will not be back. And they're going to get jobs somewhere else in the NFL. They are not going to be good enough to retain their jobs on this team under Pete Carroll and John Spytek unless something happens here in the next couple of weeks, because their tape might not be good enough from what they've done in the past to make this team. And I think some Raider fans are going to have a problem with it. Other Raider fans are going to say, hey, wish them well. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Let's get better players. That's going to be a big part of this, because you have to have a team. You know, they signed yesterday Isaiah Palomal. Everybody's saying, ooh, what does that mean about Trayvon Merrick? What does it mean about Marcus Epps? Well, it means probably one of them's gone. It means probably one of them's gone. So as I open up the show right now and I start the show and we get going here, I just want to remind everybody, today is a day of change. Today is a day of change where we're looking at a team that is starting on the ground with new perception in Indianapolis. The perception in Indianapolis is Pete Carroll's here. It's going to be different. Tom Brady is monitoring what's happening here. It's going to be different. There are new owners involved that infuse cash. It's going to be different. I hope Raider fans can embrace that. I hope you're embracing this stuff, because radio doesn't work with wait and see. Wait and see, like a movie doesn't wait forever until you go see it. You got to go see the movie to have, a critique of the movie. And we don't have a critique of the Raiders now. We're just hopeful they're going to get it right. So that's the type of radio show I'm trying to do it here. Are you optimistic? Did you listen today? Do you have a new feeling for the Raiders because of Pete Carroll? Or are you in wait and see mode? 702-365-9200 if you want to get in. We'll play some of John Spytek coming out of the next break, maybe about 8-10 minutes of that. We'll hopefully have Pete Carroll next hour. I got a couple of guests that are texting me that are going to come on along the way. Monologue brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. You know I love a Tito's on the rock with Freddie B, or I'll take a Tito's and soda with a lime. Tito's, my go-to vodka and proud partner of the show. Danny, that was easier than expected. It's easy. Just turn on the microphone and let me rip. And we just ripped for 24 minutes. What do you got to react to it? Let's wake up the nation, the Raider Nation. Wow, nice that we're here, man. I thought we weren't going to get on the air, man. We're here.
So you have Wi-Fi, but the internal network is still down. So I still can't access YouTube.
So why do I have Wi-Fi and you don't 5 feet from me? Why is it picking up?
I guess they repaired the Wi-Fi before the internal. Because they're
Interesting. Two different
they're
things.
connections.
So the internal Wi-Fi is down on our internal machines, but
Yeah, like I can't use this,
right.
but I have it on my phone. You have
Right.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Local 872 in Las Vegas have teamed up to change the world of entertainment, sports, and economic development. Laborers Local 872 is a proud member of Team Vegas from 1937 to today.
All right, how's everyone doing here?
Has been moving Las Vegas forward. Our members built the Hoover Dam Extension Bridge, finished the city center, expanded our roads, and made Vegas the biggest stage in sports. Vegas is ready. It's game time.
So yeah, I just got a text today, right now, that people can watch and listen to our show on YouTube, but cannot listen to it on their iPhones, MacBooks, or some of their other platforms. Wow.
It's our heritage. It's the DeCastro way.
I didn't cover for Mad Dog last night. That's my shift. I'm on Sundays during football and Mondays and Tuesdays here and there. All right, so you have Spytek you can play.
Yeah.
So we'll come out, we'll play about 10 minutes of Spytek.
Do you want to introduce it or?
Yeah, I'll introduce it. Yeah, so I have it queued up to that. Yep. Hey, someone do me a favor and let me know if you can hear the show on 920. Can anybody hear it on 920 a.m.? Because I got someone here saying I can't hear the show on 920.
That can be close to $4,000 in your pocket. Say no to payments and yes to less stress with One Nevada Credit Union's 90-day no-pay auto loans. Visit onenevada.org today. Federally insured by NCUA.
What is GMTVCC? It's a mouthful. The translation for GMTVCC.com is Give Me the VIN Classic and Collector Cars. It's a brand new buying division of Give Me the VIN, but it's for classic and collection cars. Experienced pro buyers will appraise an offer on your 19.
So, Jose, what do you mean? You can't hear it on 920? Can you hear it on 920 on the app, or can you hear it on the radio? Because you can hear it here, because we're in the building, but can you hear it on their feeds? That's what I'm asking. Yeah, it's in the background because I have it in the background.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley.
Not on the app, Bomber Raider says. Cannot hear it on the app. All right, can you hear it on the Raiders app? So Fabian, you can cut to the chase. Can you hear this on LV Sports or not? Can you hear this on the Raiders app? You should be able to hear it. Mark's saying 920 unavailable.
I just confirmed with Jared that we're coming across on 920.
But not on the app.
Correct. The app is not, our Las Vegas network app is not working.
Smoky barbecue chicken melt served on our pepperoncini pepper jack bread, baked fresh daily with a kick of spice and creamy cheese. Make it a combo, add chips and a drink. The chicken melt trio is too hot to handle. Order in store, online at portersubs.com or on our app today.
Yeah, YouTube, man, the future. Missouri Raider.
All right, here we go.
All right.
You'll experience how smooth it is. It's the Ferrari of tequila, the single highest quality. 100% all-natural handcrafted Comisario tequilas, blanco, reposado, and añejo. Tequila Comisario, a proud partner of the JT the Brick Show.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
JT, back with you. Good to have you today. Hopefully everybody can hear us loud and clear. A lot of people can just hear us on my YouTube channel at JT the Brick YT if you want to get a clear screen there. So far, we're doing good here. Because of Wi-Fi down in the building, I think our connection to the Raiders app and LV Sports Network is both down. So unless you're listening in your car or listening to me, we'll figure it out here as the Wi-Fi guys are in the building. Uh-oh. The Wi-Fi guys are floating around in the building here. So want to get to John Spytek, the new general manager of the Silver and Black. He was the first to go. He talked before Pete Carroll earlier today in Indianapolis at the Combine. Here's John Spytek.
The Bulldogs this year. I think what Brock has meant to you guys and your program and the culture Kirby has established in Athens is what?
Yeah, well, Brock's been one of the best tight ends I've seen come out probably in my entire career. And, we drafted Tyke in Tampa last year, and we had a bunch of Georgia guys in the room last night too. And the way that those guys, how prepared they are, how passionate they are about football, how smart they are, how intelligent they are in football really stands out. I mean, Pete and I just couldn't stop talking about it last night. I mean, they're just such an impressive group of people, both the person and the football player. So I'm happy that we have Brock for a long time.
I apologize about that.
You're good, Hondo.
Can you talk about your free agents? You got a lot of them. Have you done enough evaluating now that you know your plan, what you want to do with each?
I wouldn't say we know the 100% plan. We're working on that right now with Tom Delaney and the scouting department. We obviously played the Raiders this year, so I know the roster well. I think we've got kind of a loose plan in place. We're still spending a lot of time with Pete and the coaches to make sure everything aligns up, and we've got spots for them and it makes sense, and trying to get a sense for what's important to the player, both from a position standpoint and from a contractual standpoint. So we're working through that. We still got 2.5 weeks here to figure all that stuff out.
Your time with the Broncos help you get to this position right now?
We won a Super Bowl there, so that probably helped. And, I had such a great experience there. I was just telling Will, it was really hard for me to leave Denver and take a great job in Tampa with this guy talking over here right now. Getting a chance to be around a first-class organization like the Broncos was amazing, with the way the Bolin family ran that place, to be around John Elway every day, to see Peyton Manning. That was the first time that I was around these elite quarterbacks in my entire career. I've been around some really good ones, but two of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. So to see every day what
Both
it looked
apps,
like,
LV and Raiders.
to 2013, where you have this amazing offense and then flip it just with a couple acquisitions and have a great defense was awesome too. So just the whole experience, to try to learn as much as I could from some great people, and grateful to that organization forever for taking me. Yeah.
Talk about that, why you wanted it.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about it. I think it's as important of a hire as I could make. Mark and I really had a connection when I was there for those 3 years. It might stem from our love of golf together and the amount of times we played Inverness back then. But his knowledge across an organization is really amazing to me. His vision, his ingenuity, the innovation he thinks that we can install at the Raiders is going to be great. And he's a nice calming presence for me. He's structured, he's organized. I can be a little bit kind of freewheeling and instinctive sometimes. And so he's a little bit of a nice balance to me. So I'm really grateful that, he thought enough of this opportunity to join us.
Your history, whether it's in Denver or Tampa Bay, veteran quarterbacks have come in: Peyton Manning, Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady. Is that an avenue that you guys are actively looking at in terms of your quarterback position?
Not to be kind of cliched here, but any avenue where we can find a quarterback, we're going to explore. So, obviously there's free agents. We have some guys in the building that we want to give a chance to compete, and, working with Coach and with Chip and Holy and, the whole offensive staff, we're just going to try to find as many guys as we can to load that room up and have a great competition there.
I remember covering you in high school.
Oh boy.
So Bill Forever Young and Catholic Memorial.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, and how did it get you here today?
It was at a formative years in my life in high school football. I was 30-4 in my high school career, I think. Won a state championship, semis 2 other times, guys going D1 out of that program all the time. I learned what winning looked like. I said this at my press conference. I'm forever grateful to Coach. I learned what winning looks like, toughness looks like. The old school tough love, drink from the PVC pipe with the water, have a peanut butter sandwich and go back out there and do it again for 2 hours. He toughened us all up, and, I love him to death. He runs a great program. His love of the game has driven him to stay in it for so long and change as the game has changed and evolved, which I have an immense amount of respect for. And, I wouldn't be standing here today if I hadn't made that decision to go to Catholic Memorial.
also talk about
this draft class for the running backs being pretty deep. Do you agree with that? And what traits do you look for as a GM that would fit with what the Raiders are doing?
I think there's a lot of really good players at that position. Yeah, and I think it's a really critical position as well. I mean, you saw what the Eagles did this year, right? I mean, Saquon is a different animal, but the emphasis on the run game and the physicality that comes with it, and for running backs, I mean, I think people get really caught up on speed, and which is great. If you can find Chris Johnson that runs 4.28 or whatever he ran, and nobody can catch him, awesome. But to me, it's more about the guys that have great instincts, great vision, that are hard to get on the ground. If they can run 4.3s,
we'll play
better. But
maybe
I've seen a lot of
another
great runs
5
that run the
minutes of it.
4.5s and 4.6s that are just hard to tackle, and they set the tone for the team. So we're looking for that. It's a mix of experience, and Gardner's done a lot of good things in his career too. Aiden O'Connell showed some.
By the way, you'll be able to
quality
record
stuff.
this interview.
His opportunities as well. So
Yeah,
I haven't seen much of Bradley. So we're gonna see if those guys are where we need to head, or if we got to add to it. But we got to win more games too.
Earlier this week, you re-signed Isaiah Paul. Can you just talk about what went to that decision, and also how much of a priority is it to also kind of talk to some of those other guys in the locker room and re-sign them pretty soon?
Yeah, we don't want to let any good players walk out of our building, especially young players. And Isaiah was a guy that, given an opportunity last year when Marcus got hurt, really stepped up and played well. And I think there's you got to give a lot of respect to a young kid that's undrafted and has a chance to get thrust in the starting lineup. And next thing you know, he's playing at a good level. And we noticed it in Tampa. And talking to the coaches, PG that was here, thought he was critical. I spent some time talking to a couple of the other players in the locker room, and they had a lot of really positive things to say about him. And I think for Isaiah and for the Raiders, it made a lot of sense to do this deal, and hopefully this is just a starting point for him.
Yeah,
You and Coach Carroll, what Raider looks like the Raiders team.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't start with compete. That's been his central thing. But I think, we're going to have a lot of positive energy. The guys that love to compete and play with passion are going to have a chance at our place. And the guys that maybe don't have that love of the game, they like it. It's a means to an end. There probably won't be as many places or spaces for them at our place. I think we want to set the tone with our film. People watch a week, 2 out for our games coming. Like, they want to know, like, this is going to be a battle. This is going to be physical. This is going to be old school football. And, are we made for this? I mean, that's what ultimately this game comes down to. I think, like, am I willing to play harder, longer than the guy lining up across from me, the team lining up across from me? And if you're not, then I want to be the space. That's where the Raiders live in. And that's served me well over my career.
Your draft philosophy of best player available, need. What's your philosophy overall, general?
Yeah, I don't go down that route too much. I think that's too siloed off. I mean, I think we're going to make the best decision for the Raiders. And yes, we're not going to pass on elite talent because we maybe have a couple guys at that spot. But we're certainly not going to just force picks because we need a player. Whether the public thinks that or we think that, like, I've been a part of doing that before. I've had a chance to be around guys like Ron Wolf in my career. Like, they have all told me, my experience has told me, you do that, you just draft for need. You will draft guys way too early, and you'll regret it. And you'll watch other guys that you may have wished you took at a different position, have great careers, and you've been like, if I just would have done that. So to me, it's more about team building. What's best for the Raiders? How can we make this work? It's not about collecting talent, and it's not about just filling a roster out either.
The guaranteed money is out of his contract. So that may be coming to a head. Is that something that you feel like is going to get done here fairly soon? What are any of the discussions, the tone of the discussions?
I don't want to make any predictions or speak too much about that. I just would say I have an immense amount of respect for Max. Number one, the way he plays the game, the passion he plays with. This is what Pete and I have talked about. I mean, we want that to be what a Raider looks like, and he's a great shining example of that too. And he's also a really skilled and talented player on top of it too. So, I envision Max being a Raider for a long time here, and I think that's what he wants too. And we'll go forward with that in mind.
How would you characterize the 4 head coaches in your division?
It's all really good. I mean, one of the greats of all time who I had a chance to work with in Philadelphia for 5 years and learn so much from. And, my fellow Michigan man in LA who did us proud in Houston a couple of years ago. And then, Sean Payton, who we played against a ton when I was in Tampa and had some crazy battles. And so we have a tough division. It's not a secret, led by 3 really good head coaches and now a 4th really good head coach. And so I think it makes our division really interesting and exciting. And it's going to be all about competition. And there's going to be no easy games in our division.
All right, so that's part of John Spytek. He spoke for another 10 minutes. We seem to be all up. Tech support got us up on the apps and all that, so we are good to go. I thought John Spytek did tremendous. I watched it live when he did it. We just heard about 10 minutes of it for his first ever podium session as a GM. He's been an assistant. He's been a scout. He's been at the combine his whole career. That's a big day when you have to step up to those microphones, those cameras, and you got to go out there and talk. And I thought he did a really nice job. You heard that at the end about Max Crosby. Vinny talked about his guaranteed money being gone. I've always said I'm not going to get in front of Max's money. Max is paid pretty good. He's going to get paid a lot more down the road, you would hope. And he's Max Crosby. He's clearly our best player, clearly. And they know that. And they made that point clear. So like to get your reaction to what John Spytek said. Think of what could have been. Look, Tom Telesco. Tom was there last year. Tom's buttoned up. Tom drafted Brock Bowers, right? Jackson Powers Johnson. And Tom's made some good moves. But John Spytek takes over now. How do you think he did his first day there overall? That was brought to you by Remy Martin, Team Up for Excellence, the excellence of the Raiders in their future through the combine and the draft. Have a Remy Martin cocktail or Remy Cointreau in your margarita. There's only one way to have a margarita. You have to have the Cointreau of Remy, the best in the world. Remy Martin, Team Up for Excellence, proud partner of our show. Jeff Sherman, the VP of Risk Management at the Westgate, on some gambling odds next. All right. Everything's okay now, Danny. Picture.
Raiders seem to be a team that everybody's going to kind of be.
You have Jeff's number, or you need it?
The most interesting team out of that top 8 teams. But in terms of the national perspective, they might be, quote unquote, the wild card team in terms of really doing this. They are. Who are they calling in the top 5, if anybody?
The Morning Tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio.
So are we up and running? She was texting me.
We should be good. I'm looking at the Pete Carroll interview right now.
Okay. We'll play that maybe at the top of the hour. So that wasn't played here at 11 during Eisen show? No, because we went down then, right?
Correct.
All right, good.
Lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver and black, visit theblackhole.com today.
Yeah, I thought both guys had a good press conference today, no doubt.
The best place to watch any big game is Doghouse Saloon at Resorts World Las Vegas. Doghouse has the best views to watch the action, a sportsbook on site to place your bets, incredible food and drink specials, and an amazing after party with live music, entertainment, dancing, and dueling pianos. Also inside Doghouse is Mouse House, a dining truck serving specialty grilled cheeses. The JT the Brick Show is a proud partner of the Doghouse Saloon at Resorts World Las Vegas.
Sierra Air Conditioning and Plumbing has proven.
All right, I got another late night show tonight, 7 to 10 Pacific. And then I have an Academy Awards podcast with a kid named Lights Camera Jackson, who sat on the couch with Regis and Jay Leno when he was 7 years old. He was a phenom young movie critic, and now we've been friends a long time. So we do it every year once, the Academy Awards. If you like to partake, listen. If not, I understand. We're going to do that today. It's a busy day today. Busy day today.
And a lot more, including peace of mind all year long. Check out the long list of benefits at sierracoolslv.com. Give us a call at 702-380-7099.
The show in California is 7 p.m. on Mad Dog, Sirius XM, Channel 82. Everybody should get Sirius XM, dude. Radio is so dead on the AM FM dial, man. I don't know how you all don't pay for Sirius XM. It's so damn cheap for a cup of coffee. What a latte, what a cafe latte, or one cocktail. My wife always says that. In Vegas here, one vodka soda is like $15 cheap, and that you can have Sirius XM for the month. and have all the music, all the comedy, all the news, Howard Stern, NFL radio. I don't know how people don't do it. It's the only way I listen to radio. I don't listen to anything else.
Great cities are built on strong foundations. The skilled members of Laborers Local 872 never stop building. From the asphalt on our roads, the concrete in our buildings,
Okay.
the solar fields,
Dial up, Jeff.
and everything in between to work safely. Laborers Local 872 is modernizing the Nevada workforce and building a global city. The future is union strong. If you need to sell your house, talk to Aaron Taylor.
Hey Jeff, it's Danny. I'm here with JT. It's going good. How are you?
The real estate guy.
All right, we are back in about 45 seconds. I'll let JT know I got you, and then we'll get going as soon as you come back.
Now we got our clients through the real estate journey. We ask the right questions to fit your needs, whether you're buying or selling residential, commercial, land, or in need of a property manager. We offer cash advances with no interest, handle all repairs up front, or we will buy your distressed property within 24 hours if needed. And for buyers, we negotiate the best.
All right, let's do this.
Perfect home. So call the real estate guy today. We'll help you ride smoothly through your real estate journey. 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. Or visit us at therealestateguyLV.com to see our amazing reviews. eXp Realty, license number 38886. Call for details.
Talk to Aaron Taylor,
The real estate guy.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
All right, JT back with you. We are cruising here. Good to have everybody streaming us live on YouTube. JT the Brick YT. We're up on the Raiders app, LV Sports Network 920. We go out to the Westgate, the sharpest book in the history of sports, VP of Risk Management. Jeff Sherman joins us. All right, Jeff, let's begin with the Lakers tonight. I know there's a lot of excitement for Luka and a payback game from the odds of this game, and I know you got a couple of prop bets going that people are interested in.
Yeah, we currently have the Lakers as a 9-point favorite with a total of 231. It feels a little bit inflated with the Lakers coming off a nice win in Denver on Saturday and Dallas on Sunday losing at Golden State in the fashion that they did, but that's where we're sitting as Lakers -9 right now. We have a ton of props up, including Luka's points at 30.5. Will he get a triple-double at plus 350? Will he score 40 or more at plus 350? First point score of the game, he's 4-1 for that.
Wow.
So plenty of props to choose from tonight.
Well, typically, do you have that many props for an average NBA game in February?
We usually just do 10-player props for a national TV game.
Okay.
So we went above and beyond that tonight by adding many markets.
So that's interesting with your research and your team when you put that together, the motivation not only of Luka and the way the Lakers are playing, but there's a couple of bigs down for Dallas that has an effect in all these numbers.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. We take that into account, too. And the one thing from my angle, too, is I think you're going to see a regular effort out of Luka tonight because he doesn't have anything against the players on the Maverick. I think you're going to see more of an effort when they return to Dallas April 9th, and that's where he wants to show the people of Dallas, what happened.
We saw an amazing comeback from Minnesota against Oklahoma City, massive comeback, one of the biggest of the year on two teams that have a chance to win the title, especially Oklahoma City was that they were in the midst of a fourth quarter collapse. I think that's their only fourth loss at home. Where do they stand in overall odds to win the NBA title now?
Yeah, they're sitting second at 2-1 behind Boston for 7-4. So Boston pretty much holds that spot. And then if you look at the makeup of the East, there's only a few teams there where we consider beyond Oklahoma City, the West a little bit more open, with the Lakers coming into play at 6.5 to 1 for the West, and lately making a charge of the Warriors.
Yeah.
5-1 with Butler, and they're down to 11 to 1 to win the West from 25 to 1.
Yeah, their long odds were 25 to 1 and down to 11 for the Warriors since Jimmy Butler, huh?
Yeah, they've been playing great basketball with him, and you see some shakiness out of other teams in the West. The Clippers have lost 3 in a row, so they've been falling, and the Warriors are close to passing them for the division. So that might be a team to keep an eye on for the Pacific Division. The Warriors just 5 games back of the Lakers, but with momentum.
Jeff Sherman joins us, the VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate. So since I talked to you last, Philly won the Super Bowl. The odds for the Super Bowl next year where Kansas City could be making some changes along the way. We're waiting for T. Higgins on what's going to happen with the franchise tag. What jumps out at you?
Well, the Eagles, after their win, became the favorite. So they're the 6-1 favorite. We bumped Kansas City up. So they're 7-1 along with Baltimore and Buffalo. The one thing that we've been seeing a lot of action on are the Commanders.
Okay.
They opened them at 20-1. They're down to 16-1, and they've been the most publicly supported team, money and tickets at this point.
What about the value of the 49ers with that roster they still have up north?
Yeah, they're sitting at 14-1, and they've been modestly supported at this point. So, there's been talk about Deebo Samuel wanting out, and we'll see what kind of changes they make. But people are taking a wait-and-see approach with them at this point.
Coming up to the Combine, anything you're looking at specifically here? Because the trade rumors, trade talk, Matthew Stafford. I mean, if Matthew Stafford gets traded from the LA Rams, which is a really big topic, I'm sure that's going to affect their odds significantly unless they bring in someone comparable. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers now is comparable, but I wonder what they would do out in LA if they move on from Stafford.
Yeah, that's one thing we always keep an eye on, and we'll obviously adjust the odds as it comes. Draft trades, things like that, and then the teams that need quarterbacks and where this movement might go. And there's been talk in Pittsburgh and such. So we'll see, and we'll make adjustments as we go. But you'll see a lot of movement over the next couple months.
Wrapping it up with Jeff Sherman. So coming off Four Nations, the handle in that last game is my first question. Was that as big of a handle as you've done for a hockey game since the Stanley Cup, or was that the biggest?
Yeah, that's been our largest handled hockey game this year, and that's it was equivalent of an average NFL game. Wow! So it was spectacular, and obviously having played twice within a week, people could reinvest into it, and they did. So it was something that we really enjoyed, and people bet it like it was a Game 7. A lot of under money under the 5.5, but the book actually needed Canada. There was a lot of U.S. support for it.
Yeah, I can imagine here, especially in Vegas. Wrapping it up, golf. I watched the Mexico Open. What a wild finish, ball off the tree. You had one golfer with a nice, comfortable lead trying to get to the end here. What was the handle like for the Mexico Open, and what did you notice there on some of the individual matchups?
It was crazy. It was actually surprisingly well handled, and a lot of support for Aldridge Potgieter. And it got to a playoff, and the interesting thing about the playoff, they played 18 a par 5. Potgieter's the longest hitter on tour, and Brian Campbell's the shortest hitter on tour. Wow. So it was priced into that as $1.40 favorite on Potgieter going into the playoff. And then we saw what happened with a lucky career bounce off the tree, and Campbell comes away. He was 150-1 opener pre-tournament. I didn't have any tickets on him, so I closed him at 200-1.
Wow, no tickets on him at 150-1. No tickets on him. We're less than a month out from the Masters. What's brewing on the board there? Is it Scheffler and everyone else? Where's Tiger?
Yeah, I mean, Tiger's sitting at 200-1, and he's getting support. Scheffler's at 9-2, and surprisingly not seeing too much support. I bumped him up from 4-1 to 9-2. So you're seeing a lot of support for Bryson DeChambeau, and he's one of the public's favorites right now.
Thank you, Jeff. Fantastic as always. Appreciate your time. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, JT.
Jeff Sherman, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate, where they make the sharpest lines in the world. A lot of people ask me, what's my favorite sports book? And I kind of am Switzerland, because we do business with Virgin, Resorts World, M. So I make sure I'm nice to everybody in town. But if you're looking to gamble on sports, you go to the Westgate, period. You go to the Westgate first and check their line. That's the sharpest line here. The best line, the sharpest line where the pros go. And we appreciate it. The Benihana there rocks. Danny, have you been to the Benihana over there at the Westgate, man? I hope you have. You've been over there. It's unbelievable experience. It's my favorite Benihana in the country.
I have not been to that particular one, but I have been to one in town.
There you go. It's fantastic there. They put on nice shows, and we love it there. All right, so we're having fun today. Everybody who tuned into the YouTube channel, I think we saved you for about a half hour today. People were watching and listening to me, but now we're up. Wi-Fi guy. Kind of turn the buttons on here. We'll see if we can get this going. I got a mock draft guy at the bottom of the hour from Athlon Sports coming up. And then we have the Pete Carroll press conference that no one's heard on this channel unless you were streaming it from the Raiders feed. So we're going to give you that coming up here at the top of the hour. Pete Carroll met the media. If you want to stay here and listen on our YouTube stream, you can. We'll play it through that, and then we'll jump out of here. And then tonight I'll be on Mad Dog Sports Radio 7 to 10 p.m. Also, I'm doing a podcast today that I do once a year with a young man named Lights Camera Jackson. He was the first movie critic under the age of 7 years old. Now he's in his 20s, and he's a really good movie critic. We're going to go through the Academy Awards, the Oscars. Don't roll your eyes. we care about this. So if you want to get into the Academy Awards or know about some movies you didn't see, look for that on my live feed, my platform later today, as I do my once a year Oscar prediction show as the Academy Awards are right around the corner. You know, it's supposed to be 75 degrees today in Vegas. Let me double check here. Excuse me. It's 77 right now. You got to be kidding me. A high of 78 degrees on February 25th. We're going to get to almost 80 degrees today. It's like a beach day. Pools, open up. Let's go. What a day today to be in Vegas, man. I'm telling you, these are the days you relish until we start baking like potatoes in July and August when it gets to 115. These are the days, no humidity, blue sky day, just incredible. So when we come back, we will play the Pete Carroll conversation, the podium session from earlier today, which I didn't hear a lot of it. Saw it start, but I can't wait to hear it with you. Pete Carroll's first time at the Combine as the head coach of the Silver and Black. That's coming up next, and we got a good guest at the bottom of the hour there. If you're into mock drafts, you better be this year because the Raiders are picking number 6 overall. We're brought to you by La Casa Cigars and Lounge in Tivoli Village. Best place for a cigar and live music 7 nights a week. This is JT for Grimaldi's New York style cold. All right, Danny doesn't take a cigarette break like Bobby does. Bobby's usually gone this time. No calls, hour number 1. How about that? No calls. Callers have sucked, have absolutely sucked this month, but I love them all. That's pretty honest. About as honest as you can get. Callers suck. Callers absolutely suck, but I'm just too hard on the callers. I guess these other shows that give away fucking T-shirts or get more calls than me. I could give a crap. No one's getting a T-shirt to call me. Got to have something to say. All right. What else is going on the internet? Any trades? Any Ian Rappaport breaking news? Let's see what I missed. Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. Buffalo. Raheel Shakir got a contract extension. Yeah. Say his name. Say his name.
Khalil Shakir?
Yeah, Shakir. Man, I didn't think he was worth $60 million. Wow.
And Mark Chase is about to get a monster contract.
Yeah.
More interest, because if somebody's making money off your checking account, shouldn't it be you?
Nothing to talk about the Knights game, Joe. They got blown out. Unless you're a Kings fan, they got blown out in that third period like they were getting sucked into the ice. They had no speed. They hit the wall. 10 minutes later, you taking Pete off the YouTube feed?
Yeah.
How long is it?
The whole thing is 26.
Yeah, let's take about 20. Hey, I'm going to disappear for a little bit when we start taking this Pete Carroll thing. So if you want to listen to Pete Carroll, you can. If you want to sign off, you can. I'd like you to stay here, but I'm going to be popping around as we're playing this Pete Carroll interview.
Over 12,000 square feet, ZipZap is your one-stop shop. Offering 24
Everybody else doing good?
Oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine, and transmission rebuilding. And ZipZap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs.
The Benihana and San Leandro. I have not been to that. I didn't know they had one there. Wow.
And online at zipzapauto.com.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we, Intermountain Health.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the
So you've been
Brick Show. Modelo.
Hey Jeff, how's the new job
Okay.
working out?
Really sucks. Terrible boss and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CDL training.
My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks, and now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Truck U offers small classes with night and weekend times available. They will even help with payment programs. Check them out.
I feel like I lucked out. I haven't been got a little bit of a cold.
Never miss another show. Stream us
Oh, that's real. But a lot of people I know have been sick. Knock wood, want to stay healthy.
Welcome back to the JT the
All
Brick
right,
Show.
hour number 2, we're going to jam with Pete Carroll for a little bit, so I'll be back and
The
forth.
official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2. Bobby's off today. Danny's in, and I am here streaming on YouTube, and you can hear us on all of our apps that are up and running. And we're excited to be here today. Really important day to be a flagship NFL radio station because the combine, the Tuesday of the combine, is an important day because you hear from the GM and the head coach. They get to go. The first 2 days, they sit down with the local media, the national media. They do big media sessions, and then everybody gets to work for the combine to start on Thursday with the workouts, with the interviews starting earlier. And it's a good time for the team to bond and get together. And bonding is very important for these coaches because a lot of these coaches know of each other, but Pete Carroll hasn't worked with Patrick Graham, right? So we're going to put something together here, some chemistry, as we get a chance now with Chip Kelly to be at the combine with Pete Carroll, dinners, being able to break down film, talk, coffee in the morning, important stuff. The good teams know how to do this. The good teams do an amazing job at it, and the Raiders seem to be very buttoned up and solid today with all of this. So I'm excited for what I heard today. I'm going to hear most of this with you right now. Earlier today, Pete Carroll had his first podium press conference as the head coach of the Silver and Black.
Good. Coaching and teaching, obviously, are evolutionary year to year. What was this season like for you, being away from the game, and how did you approach preparing for this next opportunity?
This was a really unique season for me, obviously, and it wound up being full of great kids and games, and I saw more football games this year than you can imagine. All the high school games, JV, varsity, the UW games, and then of course everybody that's playing all over the league. You know, watching all those games. So it was really a fun off season in a sense that kind of just extended, but it was really rewarding too, because you have an opportunity to look with a whole different vantage point, and in that. I saw things differently than I've seen them in a long time. So I'm hoping I want to take advantage of that. So I'm really excited about getting going again.
It's been about a month since you've been on the job, looking at your team and kind of finding out about the Raiders through your film work.
It's a really frantic pace, to get everything going. Really hiring the staff is of great demand. Getting to know Johnny and getting things going with him, and all of the stuff for the organization. It's just been a blur, really, and so. It's been fun as can be, getting excited about putting the team together and getting to know players. A bunch of players are in the building. So all of that just has been an ongoing process. This really kind of slows down getting here, to tell you the truth. So it's been really fun, though.
Much of Kelly's offense were you able to watch at Ohio State, and what really intrigued you to bring him in as your OC?
Amazing offense. 2,000-yard rushers, 2,000-yard receivers. A national championship and the whole thing. It was an incredible, viewing throughout the season. I was watching them all year long, and so I didn't know that we would get a chance to get it done, because I didn't know what he was thinking. But I've been a fan of his for a long time. We met way back in the Oregon days, when we were going against. We went against him, at SC and all that. And at the time when he was setting the pace of the game in at a whole different level, it was a really fun relationship. Following that, he used to come see us at Seattle, so it was had a long time friendship.
As you evaluate this team and you get to look, what has pleasantly surprised you about the Raiders?
I like I've met a bunch of guys, and I like their outlook and their approach. These guys are really, really hungry, and for obvious reasons. We're all hungry anyway, but they're really, want to do something special and make something of this time. Our it might not seem like it, but our careers go really quickly, and for these guys that are doing the playing, the sense of urgency is really obvious. We've got some highlighted players, and that I'm excited about. The opportunity to see this thing turn is what really charges me. Yes. What's up, boss?
All right. Can you just take us back over the past year in terms of you getting out of coaching? Did you always want to get back? Was there I retired and
I didn't. If you remember, I didn't retire, and I did that purposely. I did not. I wasn't ready to just stop coaching, but we had a nice agreement up there as we turned this thing around, and I was really excited for John Schneider to get his chance to do what he gets to do, and but in my mind, I was always competing for what was coming up, and so that was maybe the actions I took, because you didn't see me very visibly. I was not making a point to do that. Really wanted to take to the opportunity of being around my family and all of that, but stay with the game throughout. So there was really not much of a shift. But I do know what retirement will be like, though. I do know that.
Why is it important for you to come to the combine? What do you get out of being here in person?
Oh, there's so much. There's so much interactions. It's a chance for me with our coaches I've met for all morning until I got in the car to get over here with my defensive staff. We're evaluating players at the same time, learning about each other and how we see guys and how we interview them and all of that. Putting together this class. Remember, we're also in the midst of free agency with our own players and the players that we might have a chance to attract. So all of that is just keeping us all going. It's nonstop. So it's been great.
You said in your introductory press conference that previous teams you've been with, it took a little while to get your team to the top. With the Raiders, you're trying to do that from day one. What steps have you taken to put that plan in action, or what will you be doing in the future?
This is the same process. This is not a different process than the last couple times I had a shot at it. It does take some time to get your foothold, and we've got a lot of philosophy and approach that is unique to the way we do things. That it takes some time to get that going. Meanwhile, it's right now, and so that's a really fun part of it. The urgency is there. It's so obvious, but yet there's so much teach and learning that's going on that's really exciting to me. So that's we'll see how it goes. It does take some time. I don't know how long. I'm ready to go right now.
One of the first teams that you were connected with on that was the Bears, and you had an interview with them early on. What attracted you to that opportunity at the time, and how did your experience with them go?
The obvious part is it's a historic franchise in a great city, and similar situation. They hadn't won a lot recently, and so it's a big challenge, a big opportunity to turn things. I feel pretty confident about having an effect as we start a change like this. Haven't been through it a couple times, and so there's an excitement about that in that setting. To get that thing turned around in that division, it's so tough, just like ours is now. There was just a lot of really positive things about it. Of course, the quarterback was an exciting part of it, and little Trojan background and all that kind of stuff was fun. And I really liked the people a lot that we got to work with in setting the thing up, and the interviews and all of that. It was a really nice process, but I think it worked out.
Can you tell Jerry Jones about Brian Schottenheimer, and why do you think Brian's ready for this opportunity?
He is ready. Yeah, he is ready. He's been waiting for this opportunity for a number of years. He's been ready for some time. I just told him all this positive stuff about Brian, that and the stuff we've been through together, and the confidence I had in him, and to try and reassure him, because it sounded like he was really in the lead position to get that job. I was trying to help Jerry feel good about it too, because he was trying to get ready for it. So I was glad that I had a chance to help him.
You brought up watching Ohio State this past year with Chip, and I know you worked with Jack Smith-Njigba in the past. What do you think about the way they've developed receivers and kind of the trend that they've had of producing guys?
Incredible program. It's an incredible. They continue to just fuel that thing with great players, and coach he's got it going. He knows how to utilize those good players and make sure that they continue to stay on top of things. the fact that he was able to roll Chip in there and out of there that fast and have an immediate impact like he did, that's philosophy and approach and vision that for that program that they've been able to maintain. So it's really impressive that they continue to do it.
What's some of the perspective that you learned in watching so much football this year, including the JV, high school, and stuff that you can now apply?
Yeah, there's patterns to the game that I saw differently, and there's patterns to down the distance situations that whether you're playing JV football or you're playing for the Super Bowl, that you can see that occur in games that I see more clearly. Really, a lot of it was kind of the analytic outlook of it, but it was kind of like things kind of slowed down a little bit watching it this time around. When you're in the midst of all of these seasons and every week you're just so frantically going about planning for the next game, you don't get the chance to have that perspective and slow your mind down and really take a clear visual look at it. And that was it was a real highlight. I knew it was happening. It isn't like it happened and I thought about it afterward. I could tell it was happening. I could tell I could see it differently. I could feel the rhythms of the game differently. And I'm really excited to convey those things that I look at differently than I have before. So I have a really strong philosophy about how we do things and why we do what we do. But yet, if you're competing, then you have to be dynamic enough to continue to grow and expand on all of that. So I'm really anxious to see how that plays in.
Part of that is, to your point about obviously win forever. Is there any part of your year off where there was something you believed in really strongly, that there was some kind of they say if you're going to learn something, it's going to hurt your wallet or your ego? Was there anything that kind of hurt your ego as you learned something about that you might change going forward?
Yes.
We got people in here. Still some people left. Wow.
Each stop you've had as a coach, what did you learn in your time in Seattle?
Well, what I did take away, the whole experiment going to Seattle after USC was to see if we could carry the mentality and the approach to how we dealt with the people in the program and the people outside of the program,
5 more
the
minutes.
fans and the following as well, in the similar fashion to see what would happen, what was different between college and what would be different between the NFL. I didn't find any difference at all, and I was really thrilled about that, and it just supported the mentality. If there's anything about that was easy to see transfer from college to the NFL, is how you treat people and how you look after them and you care for them. And you realize that the connection and the interaction that you can have with people can really help them find the best that they have to offer. And so we, throughout all of those years, it's been 20-something years of the same outlook in fundamentally. What was really true is how you deal with people and how you treat people. And if you treat them well and you look after them and you care for them, you can help them find what they have to offer. And so that's something I'm really excited about learning. And I really wasn't sure. And I said that when I was started up, I didn't know. But I found within a couple of years, it really, even in the first year in Seattle, we were able to turn the mentality and the approach. We won a division somehow, and won a playoff game somehow, and got going. So in both the rhythms of both SC and Seattle, it took us a couple of years to be in the thick of it, and it didn't take very long. And so I'm excited about hopefully being able to do the same thing here.
Now you can save on.
All right, we'll come back to me here. They must have had an ad in that feed there. So we'll get back to me, and you just heard about 12, 13 minutes of Pete Carroll as we open it up here on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio. So maybe we'll get a call on that today from someone who loves Pete Carroll, because as I just listened with everybody else, he is unbelievable. And as he talked about competition and treating people well and how he wants everybody to jump in together and be on the same page, Chip Kelly, everybody who's in there and involved is going to be on the same page. You have to work well with Pete Carroll. You must. You have to. Not that they don't work well with others. He's just different. And maybe that's the struggle that I'm having here, that it's going to take me some time to get through, is not looking at the other coaches who did this and say they were terrible, they were bad. No, they're not Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's different. And I think we should embrace that today. So today's an important day. I think that Pete Carroll and John Spytek spoke right after each other. John Spytek went first. Pete Carroll went second. Would love your reaction to both their sessions today. And what were some of the points that jumped out at you that make you feel like it's different now? That's the reaction we want from you today. How about that? We're asking Raider fans what their reaction is. What is your reaction from what you heard today from the GM and the head coach? You'll never be asked of that again. One day. Today's the day. Tuesday at the Combine. Does it make you feel confident about the future? Does it make you feel optimistic? How do you feel about this? Or are you one of those guys who said, I'll believe it when I see it? I think it's, you got to feel good this time of year, man. You have to. You got to feel optimistic. You got to hope. You got to expect good things to happen here. And that's what I think the Raider fans need to do more. All the negativity that Raider Nation has been through, which is warranted, I'm hoping that from hearing those two gentlemen today, you come out of it and say, yeah, I could be optimistic. I could stop being negative Nancy. I could stop being Debbie Downer. I could stop being the dude at the bar who's always talking down about my team not winning lately. I get it. I don't do that, but if you do that, maybe this has turned the corner for you. Maybe this is the moment that you say I'm on board with it. Because there are some Raider fans that aren't on board with certain coaches. You just didn't like Josh McDaniels at all. To a man, you didn't like him. You never gave him a chance. You never gave him a chance. He lost his job. If you feel like you won that battle, great. However, whatever rocked your boat. A lot of people liked Antonio Pierce. I thought Antonio Pierce last year did a nice podium session too, but it's just different. Antonio Pierce is more about, it's also competition, rah-rah, wanting to get the most out of the players. Pete is a calming voice, a soothing voice who wants to fix this and do it in a different way that he's comfortable with. I think he has a lot of respect for Al Davis and Mark Davis, Mrs. Davis, and the franchise's history, which is really important also. Really important as we go forward. We might be able to play a little bit more of that later coming up on the other side here in the show, because I think some of the stuff he said down the stretch was really important. Also, as Vic Taford pointed out, Seattle media hijacked that podium session. A lot of the Seattle guys and gals came over there and just wanted to talk about Pete's years in Seattle, which is understandable. He's very well respected, and he's been up there forever here. But the Tom Brady stuff with both John Spytek and Pete Carroll is very interesting to me, because they're being honest with us, but they don't have a lot to tell us. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. As Tony says in the group chat at JT the Brick YT on YouTube, no egos, enough spotlight and credit for everyone. Yeah, I would agree on that. AP didn't have the experience, but AP gave it his best shot. Now the Raiders have a coach that has been there before, knows everybody in the room, very comfortable in his own skin and his ego. Seemed like he had a nice break with his family in the offseason, and he's ready to roll again. So with all that being said, Pete Carroll and John Spytek are our topic today. And I'd like to know what you thought about their podium sessions. I didn't see the podium sessions of the other coaches at all. I'll play some of that sound nationally tonight, but I really like what Pete Carroll had to say. 702-365-9200. The brothers win. The DeCastroverde Law Group. Two brothers, Alex and Orlando DeCastroverde, built the firm up in the legacy of their father. Their father, who was able to escape Cuba, come to this country, work at night in a casino, get his law degree, and then took that law group and grew it. And now the brothers win underneath him with their great family legacy. If you get into an accident, I hope you don't. The best guys in town with their egos checked at the door also is Alex and Orlando DeCastroverde. 702-222-9999. When we come back, maybe a little bit more of Pete Carroll. And we have a guest coming up, one of our new insiders, as I reached out to a few of them along the way to find the best ones, the young ones, some new voices here on the radio show from Athlon Sports. We have a young man coming up, Luke Easterling, who will join us and tell us what he thinks about these first 6 picks. And then the news today that Mel Kiper Jr. has the Raiders passing on Shedeur Sanders, passing on him at 6, and he goes to the Jets at 7. My head would pop. Like my head would explode. Not off my shoulders, but internally my head would just pop if the Raiders passed on Shedeur. If he was there and they didn't take him, ooh, what happens if Shedeur is better than Jaden Daniels? There's a chance. Jaden Daniels, a good kid. He's not the son of Dion. Shedeur's a hell of a player. Going to pass on him? I don't see that. I can see Shedeur not being there. I can see the Raiders wanting to trade up and losing out on Shedeur. But can you see in any circumstance where the Raiders say, no, we're good. We're going to take Aston Jetty at 6, or we're going to take a corner at 6 and let Shador go to another team. I don't know how that would go over. So I don't think it's going to go over. But my mind can change. It's February 25th. If it turns out Shador, whatever, doesn't have a good pro day, or we hear some rumblings about anything that he's not a good fit for the Raiders, I can evolve with that. But for Mel Kiper Jr. to think that the Raiders in his mock draft would let Shador go by and not take him at all is pretty shocking to me. Your opinion on that, if you want to get in on that also, 702-365-9200. We'll get to a mock draft expert coming up in a little bit, and a little bit more of the Pete Carroll sound, because I want to play that and want to hear it and take some little nuggets out of that for the rest of the week. Q is up and running at the Combine. You'll hear his show in its entirety, and he's excited about it. He asked a lot of important questions at the podium today. Thanks to the bricklayers on YouTube for being there today, and everybody else who follows us and subscribes to us every day. Yeah, luckily we caught that. What was that, an ad stream in there?
Yeah.
So can we get past that and play that and get past it now so we can?
Yeah, it's past it.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. I'm blowing out of this. Appreciate y'all. I think we had a good day today because people can only hear us via this platform. So thank you. Appreciate you all. If you want to listen tonight, 7 p.m., I'll do another half an hour monologue, and I hope you're there for that. Thank you.
On Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.